So as we're navigating this, I really want to talk. So, hey, for any of you amazing entrepreneurs out there, as you're navigating it, this is me and Nate talking in real time. I didn't know if Dr. Smiley was going to come or not. If he comes, great, because I love his energy. I love him as a person. And he's bald like us, which is cool. And if he doesn't, we do what we do as entrepreneurs. But I'm actually putting together a strategy right now. And the strategy, the leaders arena. So we talk about the leaders arena, stepping into the arena, learning the lessons. The number one lesson that I've learned as I navigate this journey is there's a lot more that I don't know that I do when I step into an arena. Whenever I step into an arena, it's always a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. And what's interesting, there's a piece of us that always knows this, but we don't know it as children. And what I mean by that, when a kid first learns to walk, it's just this thing that's to be expected. And then this kid sees people walking around them. And then the kid and here's what's also interesting. Most family members don't force kids to walk. They just walk when they walk. And so I go, wait, are we a forced society? Do we force each other to do things instead of asking a question, which is, well, what do you want to do? Because when you ask the question, what do you want to do? You're going to get an answer. And once you get an answer, then you can navigate a person. I go, rarely do we ask the question. We just start telling them, well, this is the way that it's done. This is the way that you do it.
Dude, you and I are on the same vibration again.
Yeah.
So we're, from a parenting perspective, going through this right now.
Yes.
Where it's turned both boys. There's not just one person, but it is the boys. I'll blame them. Turning in homework. Both highly intelligent individuals don't turn in the homework. Well, why don't you turn in the homework? Well, I don't really care. But because the conversation I keep having is, why are you doing this way? Or why are you doing this way? Because it's not the way it should be done. Instead of just saying, do it. Because of the why, now the conversations are deeper, because we now are in this position of changing their perspective about the work and understanding that the work has to be done regardless. And just like in life, sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do. But with what you're saying, if we just continue to helicopter our kids and we don't allow them to fail, and we just kind of cover and run cover for them all the time to keep pushing them through life, when they're on their own, they're going to fall flat on their face and bounce on the really hard.
Yep. I had, there was one time my mom forced me to do something, and it was really fascinating. It was in 4th grade, and I was learning this book that was in Spanish. And she's just forcing me to learn how to read this, and I was frustrated. She forced it on me anyway. And the next day I get to class, and lo and behold, I can read the book better than everybody, including the teacher. And so because I could read it better than the teacher and everybody else, and whenever someone needed a word pronounced or enunciated for them, the teacher called on me. And I had such pride in that moment. Oh, I can read this book better than anybody. All that training my mom did for me served me.
Yeah.
And I go, ultimately, we want to serve ourselves. When it really comes down to it, we want to serve us. And we're brought into this world saying well, you got to do it this way and you got to do it that way. The only reason I even thought to go, wow, because I like to self-reflect, I love it. And the more I self-reflect, the more I realize, oh my goodness, people don't self-reflect until they slow down. They get a sickness. Something slaps them upside their head, or they're nearing their death. And for me, as I go through my journey, what I've learned is the more we self-reflect, the better our lives become when we know how to do it. We don't know how to do it. We can actually put a lot of crap on ourselves. That's not fun. But if we can actually take the time to self-reflect, and we have proper mentorship, proper guides, proper people to support us along the way, oh my goodness, potential's limitless.
I always wonder, like, and this isn't me picking on people, this is myself as well, like wondering why in certain scenarios, and I could easily say it's one thing, but it's a myriad of things that forces you to kind of deny that opportunity of change. And deny that, because I remember before kind of really getting into the self-inventory and the reflection, it was frightening, like absolutely frightening. And I don't know the exact reason behind it, but I think that might be it. It is so scary to look inside yourself, because it also reflects other things, because then you have to look at your parents, and let's say you have a good relationship with your parents, but you look at your self-inventory, and then when you drill down, you're like, oh, that's when that happened. Not that you get a negative feeling about your parents. That's not where I'm going. But your parents no longer are, the pristine pedestals on the shelf at that point, and then you have to process that. And then there's an identity crisis that is possible in there. And I got so deep into mine, and then in the middle of the addiction, that became that problem. When I got inside myself, I was like, oh my God, I don't even know myself. I'm not even who I thought I was. And then the crisis began. Yep. But riding through, like you just said, having a support system of people that are in your corner, and it doesn't have to be 500. Like I had a couple people. And
you only want a couple people.
And that's exactly my next point is you don't want too many cooks in that kitchen. Yeah. But it wasn't until I pushed through that, and that was the hardest thing. It was like going through like the way we look at like vortexes and stuff like that, where it's like it's really big and then it gets really small and then it gets big again, and that constraining period is like the most painful period for teleportation and interdimensional travel. Well, yeah, that's exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. Your body and your brain and everything feels like it's being squished to nothing. Yeah. Then the release begins. Mm-hmm. And you can expand back out into your truer self.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. So I say yes and or maybe but. Because all of it's true. Like, you got to push through the door. You got to open the door. You got to walk through the door. So you get it. So depending on how a person looks at it, it's all about how they look at it. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll give you an example. You dealing with alcoholism. I had a friend who dealt with a drug addiction, and mine was elite performer addiction. Mm-hmm. And I go, addiction is an addiction, no matter what. But some people cheer certain people's addictions. Oh, you're so amazing.
I got cheered because I was making everybody a lot of money while I was drinking, because I was selling alcohol. So I had a lot of people in my corner being like, go, go, go.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So you can get cheered, you can get booed, and we look at the outside world because that's all we know. We look at the outside world as, well, the outside world determines what's right and what's wrong. Not really. Because we got an inside world going on too. And that's actually the most important world. Because if you don't get that world right, your outside sucks.
And that's like it's interesting you say that, because I've been like looking a lot at like nature and how nature affects humans and how animals communicate, and a lot about from communication aspect of things. And I think this isn't like an egotistical thing for the human spirit, but I think we really need to understand that, like, we give so much accountability and responsibility to everything else, all the external existential factors, but we don't take enough time to be like, we are aside from like natural disasters and acts of God, obviously we're not going to battle with God and win. But when it comes to the everyday here, we are more powerful than everything else.
Yep.
When we're able to focus on that path.
This literally happened on our podcast, where we were talking with the marketer. I believe his name is Jonathan, but Jonathan was saying something. It was so fascinating to me because it unlocked something in me. And he goes, yeah, Cliff does this so naturally, he probably doesn't even know that he does it. And he goes, he takes full ownership. And what I learned on my journey, I actually take too much ownership sometimes.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, okay, if you give me 50%, I'll give you 150%. And I really can only give 100%. But it feels like 150 because they're only giving 50. So like, oh, I'm dealing with drag.
Yes. And we've talked about that quite a bit on here. And I think that's a big thing for people to realize is that delicate balance of, I think we use the metaphor of like running on the track and somebody sitting on the bleachers and trying to get them to run with you. And it's very similar in the sense that you can't tell like even myself, I'm going to keep focusing on myself instead of judging other people. Until I was ready to stop drinking, it never was going to happen. I tried to quit drinking 9 times over the course of 7 years. And even, so it wasn't even, yeah.
I love that, what you just did there, because what I've learned is I go, hey, this is from my beliefs.
Yeah.
This is what I've learned on my journey. This is how I see the world. And I go, you know what? Like, I actually didn't realize this until I had a discovery call with someone and they asked me, I didn't ask what everybody wants. I asked, what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
And I go, holy crap, I always involve everyone in the decisions that I make.
Life is here's what it is life is an elementary school class project.
Yeah.
It's a group project. And you're out of 5 people in your group, 3 of them ain't going to do shit, and 2 of them are going to do all the work. And that's life. Like, once you can accept that is the first education of life, is that experience, you're good to go. You have expectations set. And that you're either the guy that's doing the project and presenting, or you're the guy that's checking in every once in a while to ask how the project's coming along for your grade.
What I love about this game, because I love that. You always get better at playing it.
Yeah.
So you pick better group members. You ask better questions. You look for them to actually do the thing, because people can say it, like, I've never seen anyone go like, man, I suck. Don't hire me for this. Like, people of like, wow, they really can glorify themselves sometimes. Like, oh yeah, I'm the king shit. Watch me do this.
And it's funny you brought that up from an employee standpoint too. Like, I've never hired contractors and employees based on their interview. Never. And everybody's always like, oh, they interviewed really well. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I sometimes don't even interview, because I'll hop on with somebody for like 15 minutes and I'm just like, okay, they're able to formulate sentences, and they're able to do this, and they're able to speak from the cuff like we do in the podcast. It's the same format. It's like, can you on the fly, without your notes, without prep, can you say and can you present to me that you understand what you're talking about? But also, I learned this from Gary Vee, was the fire fast, which is like hire fast and fire fast. And the hire fast, fire fast is one of those things, because everybody can give you the most bullshit presentation in the world in their interview. And it's only until you throw them in the lion's den do you really know.
And interviewing is actually a trained skill. And ultimately, you're looking for a result. You don't want someone who can interview well and give bad results. Like, that's not the goal.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's I've been talking a lot about this stuff lately. I really appreciate this topic we're talking about. And I'm coming up on my 3 years on the 26th.
Nice.
Yeah,
congratulations.
So I'm excited. Yeah, man, I'm excited to close out the calendar year with a good win on that one.
Yeah, I love that. So I'll also share, whenever I come into something, I come into it with, I'll just call it for what it is, optimistic ignorance. Because I believe in people. I believe what they say. Why would a person lie? That's where my mind goes. Because I'm like, well, I wouldn't lie, so why would anybody else lie? Then I learned the lessons. I learned how to discern. I did it in fighting. I did it in weight loss. I did it in entrepreneurship. And I go, oh my goodness, same players, different game. People are going to tell you what they want you to hear. And here's what's interesting. What I learned to do is look for my tints. And what was interesting, in order to get to your 10, you have to say no to your 9.9.
Mm-hmm.
That's how aligned you have to be. And it's intentionality. You know, you get aligned by being intentional, figuring out, what do you want? Why do you want it? What's going to happen when you get it? Who's going to win? Like all of these pieces, so that you can effectively negotiate. Because I go, oh, entrepreneurship is nothing more than negotiation. And ultimately, you want to win, and the person sitting next to you, and I say next to you with complete intentionality, wants to win too. Because if you're sitting across from each other, you're naturally combative.
Mm-hmm.
Not even at a conscious level. This is subconscious. Like you don't even realize that you have it. And the reason I know this comes from my fighting journey. I understand my own psychology, and our hardwiring is hilarious, actually, because there's a lot going on that we don't even realize or think about.
It's interesting you said about the hardwiring, because when you were talking about this, my mind was how in recent months I've really come to like discern and understand who is in survival mode and who is like thriving. And that's not a negative or a positive, but it's to the hardwiring of how you see the world and how you see opportunity in those two state of minds. Yep. And I didn't realize, and I'm coming to, again, this is from my perspective, is I didn't realize how long I was in a survival mode and how many opportunities I missed because of my confidence and my self-esteem while in survival mode. And then also how I treated and behaved with other people because I was also in survival mode. And it was very self-centered, and it was very, me. But it was out of necessity in that mindset. And now, like, literally, I'll keep saying it, like, since I met you and a few other things along the way, and the way we've been doing this podcast, that abundance mindset, it sounds cliche and I don't like it because it's overused, but it's true. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but it changes the way when people present you with things or they talk to you, you see everybody different. The whole world is seen differently, and you're able to be more empathetic. And I don't mean pity. I don't mean putting pity on people. I mean true empathy.
Yep. I love that. And I'll also share with you, the word leadership gets thrown around a lot as well. And I was actually talking with my agent, which is my chat, but I call him my agent because I treat him like an agent.
Oh, I have one too.
yeah. And as we were talking, I was mentioning, he talked about leadership and how I emulated and how I should put that in my messaging. And I go, well, isn't leadership thrown around a lot? And he goes, yes, it absolutely is, but it's the embodiment. It's how you show up. And that's who you are. And he goes, when someone says like, oh, people talk about leadership all the time, but to have that presence, to really be there person to person and have a conversation and actually see them with intentionality, you can't fake that. And that's what happens in life. So there's going to be words that are thrown around. They are. Like, even this drives me crazy because I really feel motivation has been hijacked, because motivation means motive in action. It's you actually have a motive, you're looking to do something, and you want to take an action. And like, people throw around motivation like, I just got to be motivated or get motivated, but what does that actually mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so our words have feelings, and it's important for me, because I love how you said that, like, we say we, and I go, you know what? Yeah, I stand for me. And I want everyone to stand for themselves, for their journey, for their reality. And for me, I'm very intentional with the words that I use in the best way that I can be.
Yeah, it's I'll tell you a little update. Or earlier this week, I signed my first client for 2026 of a new
Nice.
program that I'm doing. That's not sales.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing sales. I am doing some sales. I'm not going to say that, but I'm saying the business is being pivoted a little bit, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
adding a new service, and it's founder and executive coaching. And I signed my first client on Monday for next year for a 16-week program that I built. And basically, it's not executive coaching in the traditional sense, and it's not leadership coaching. It's founder coaching from a systematic standpoint. So it's it's taking that mindset from a founder's perspective and understanding all of the crazy fire drills that go on and leading with that empathy. Understanding and then from a system standpoint, as a founder, you keep a lot of things in your head because you're the founder. You created the idea, you created the concept, you know in your head how it's going to go. A lot of founders have trouble building the systems that then can transcend to a language that the employees understand and can drive that mission forward. So I signed my first one this week for next year. It's a 16-week program. I'll send it over to you. It's pretty cool. And I'm really excited because there's like you do it, there's a lot of leadership stuff out there. There's a lot of executive stuff, but there's not a lot that's really focused on that specific mentality. And I think that I have such a different experience than a lot of people, and I don't do things by textbook. So I'm able to build really customized thing through these types of conversations, taking that conversation and then customizing the program for that person.
I love that. And what's cool, we may both be making a product in real time. That's because my people stay with me for not years, decades.
Nice.
And what I've learned, I love to align with my greatness. I'll say it that way. And this is what I mean by this. We're actually taught to chase. Gotta chase, gotta get to the top. Gotta get to the top. Mine is I like to align with my being.
Mm-hmm.
And when I align with my being, the badass me comes out. So I fight in the UFC in less than a year. I become a Hall of Famer. I become an academic athlete. I'm not the entrepreneur of entrepreneurs, but that's what I'm focused on being that. And so in being that, it's the way you speak, the way you communicate, the way you negotiate, the way you make people feel. And I say, I'm a leader and I make everything and everyone around me better. And I look at my journey and it was so freaking shocking. Because when they say they don't care about you, they really don't until you care about them.
Exactly.
Because once you care about a human being, they really, really care about you. Because when you care about them, you can actually help them. Because you ask questions other people don't ask.
It's everything that I put into developing this is a myriad of lessons that we've learned, that you and I have learned throughout the course of running this show, and the show Free Mind Fridays prior to this. And it's one of those things that there's a common thread with all these interviews, and then I learn it from my other stuff with Ready to Drink and everything like that. It's like all of these founders and these leaders, it's finding the way to connect with the people to inspire them is the most important thing, while also dealing with all of the challenges that are involved in leading anything.
Yep.
And I think that
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I cut you off a bit. So I'm just really passionate about this. So my coach, when I was a fighter, couldn't inspire me. And I'm not attacking him because he was a great coach and a great mentor. Couldn't inspire me to the level of potential that I could have gone to. And even I didn't know that. Because he never asked the question, why do I do what I do? And I actually fought, of all things, here you all go, I wanted to teach people how to love. And most people don't get that. Like, how can you beat people up? No, I compete. I am not there I want to beat this person up. I want to compete. I love it. It fascinates me. It excites me. And he never said, hey, if you want to get your message out there, Clifford, that message to love other people, show them. Show them how competitive you can be. Show them how hungry you can be. Show them how you can show up. It's either your message or his. Like, I'm literally feeling it as I'm talking to you about it. And I go, people do things for their reason, not for other people's. And what's interesting, because I think personally, this is just my personal opinion, in the corporate world, they dangle a carrot. Not everybody, but they dangle the carrot and they have you use up your energy consistently. It's like, oh, wait a minute, this is a behavioral model. Instead of actually taking the time to have a person go 100% on something, they have them go after their needs, their wants, their desire, the corporation. And I go, well, I don't like that game very much.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting you said about the coach. So about 2 weeks ago, I went out to lunch with my wrestling coach from high school.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the other wrestlers that was older than me, we didn't go there at the same time. He went to lunch as well. And I actually want to get him on here, by the way. I told him I want to get him on here. And actually, I may reach out because we don't have a guest on my actual anniversary of my sobriety. And he would be a fantastic person to have on to talk about leadership.
Oh, nice.
He's now in he's athletic director, consultant, and all kinds of stuff now in his retirement. But he can also give the perspective of me as a younger time and give a full picture that I probably am leaving out stories because he's not afraid to embarrass me. He's known me since I was 8 years old. So, but my point is, what I wanted to say was actually not about him, was about a football coach once. And actually both coaches did this, but the first one was a football coach and quickly got to know me really well and led with empathy. And without me saying it to him, he, through questioning and spending time together, learned that I'm an overthinker and that I overthink everything. And football, while I love football because I loved everything about football, I loved the feeling of the contact as much as it hurt when it was 30 degrees outside or 20 degrees outside when you connect with somebody. I loved all that. I loved the teamwork and all that. But football plays were my Achilles heel. I could not remember, and this is the same thing with everything in my life from an academic standpoint. I'm not a memorization and good test taker. I'm not. I'm a project-based person, which is why my career is great. But in the academic world, I struggled. And right off the bat, in my junior or senior year, I'm in the middle of a play and I screwed up the play and then I got all frustrated and I froze. Mm-hmm. And he comes over and he grabs me by the face mask. And this is, everybody relax. This is the late 90s, early 2000s. So it was a little different as far as on the field. And he grabs my face mask and he goes, "Stop fucking thinking."
Yeah.
I looked at him, and that was the first. I've never been cursed at by any. My parents aren't cursors or anything like that. So in that moment, my ass puckered up, and I was like, "What is going on here?" Yeah. And I asked him in the moment. I was like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "All you're thinking about is the plays." And he's like, "You have it all here." He's like, "You already have it all. You already understand." And then he closed it with the most important thing. And I always do this, and I think about this quote all the time. He goes, "If you're gonna make a mistake, just make a fucking aggressive one." And he goes, because if you make a mistake and you make an aggressive mistake, there's a good chance screwing up the play is irrelevant because you succeeded in whatever it is. And that was it. And that turned that key. And all of a sudden it was off to the races because I would overthink. Like I would be going up to tackle the guy and I would be like, "Oh shit, I'm supposed to be on the other side of the field right now." And I would pull back from the tackle instead of just going through and taking the dude out. And it's like sometimes, and in that moment, what I realized is that what this format is of this, I'm realizing this in real time as I'm telling you this story, is that was the moment that I realized that life is just full of winding turns and nothing is going to run the way it is supposed to on paper.
No.
and what he was teaching me was situational management, because in actuality, what he saw wasn't a kid that was fucking up every single play and running down the wrong side of the field, which, by the way, one time I got a fumble recovery and went the wrong direction and almost scored for the other team. That's what I'm trying to say. I overthought all that. I wasn't dumb, but I was just confusing myself because I was trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
And until that moment where I realized to trust my instincts. Now, later in life, I suppressed that with the world and everything like that, but I'm back to it now is what I'm getting at. Is I'm back to that place where it's like, I've been on this earth for 40 years. I don't know everything, but I damn sure know how to be successful in day-to-day operations of my life and be a good person.
Yep. I love that. I love that. And big kudos to you, brother. And I also say, so I am an overthinker, a focused, disciplined individual, a heart-centered, go all in, a jump off the cliff and burn myself, all of it.
Hence why we do this show. I mean, nobody does this show without any bit of courage, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I go, I didn't die. What did I learn?
There's a point in my, aside from being sent to Guantanamo Bay for torturing, there's not much else that somebody can do to scare me at this point in my life. Yep. Like I've thought about it a lot of ways. I'm like, I've had the physical stuff. I've had the all the things.
I got to see, I don't even remember the name of the movie, but I'm watching on YouTube and there's a Denzel Washington clip. And Denzel is like, my son's gonna live. My son's gonna live. You're gonna do the procedure. And he takes the gun out and the guy goes, what are you gonna do? You gonna shoot me? He goes, no, I'm gonna shoot myself.
Yep.
And I'm like, what? Like, I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about that scene. Because it shows like, wow, you can love something so much and you can have such a strong desire in something, like this is going to happen no matter what. I said this is going to happen. And honestly, it's scary when you say something like that. When you say, hey, I'm stepping up and this is my line, not in the sand, in the stone. This is my line in the stone. This is what it is. This is what's going to show up.
It's fascinating you brought that clip up, because I'll be heavy for a second, and I'm not going to give details because they say not to talk about details of this. But when I had my suicide moment, and that was it. It was that, and in that, the reason I didn't proceed and complete was because I realized in that moment I was like, I'm the one in control of my life, and I said, if I just leave here, everybody else wins, because everybody else moves on with life. And honestly, let's be honest, at the end of the day, yes, things will happen, people will be distraught and things like that. But for the most part, life will move on. But that moment of turning that power onto myself was the reason I didn't proceed, because in that moment I realized that I actually had all the control. Because in that moment, the reason that drove me to that is because I felt like I was out of control. And it's not one of those things where I'm like, oh, I hover that over my head all the time and I use it as a thread, and that's not it. It's just that moment stays suspended in the back of my mind to allow me the confidence to look everyone in the eye in my life, even somebody that's challenging me or threatening me. And since that moment, I've had a physical experience with somebody, and I had zero fear. That's never been the case in my life. Because there was always multiple things. I was afraid of what they thought about me. What would they think about me? What would they tell other people? Then what would everybody else think of me if I didn't do this and didn't do that? And since that moment, May 2024, I can't even comprehend it. I can't even comprehend the fear of giving someone that type of power over my life, to make me hover, to make me hide, to make me want to pull my blinds down, to make me want to turn my lights out and cocoon into my bed. I can't even comprehend giving anybody 5 minutes of that anymore.
That's powerful. Yeah. And that's the we're talking about change and then going through it, and there's so many ways to do it. Like that's what I love about the game, is there's so many ways. The ways are limitless. They're limitless. So you can take you can have a dental procedure, right? And let's say, do you remember Castaway?
Oh yeah, when he ripped his tooth out.
Yes, he had to rip his tooth out.
Dude, I just had one pulled 3 weeks ago.
Did you? So I'm going and I go, everything depends. It always depends. So he was in that position to be like, okay, you can let this sit here and suck, or you can have a moment of suck to get rid of it.
Yep.
But if he would have been in civilization and you have the option of going to the dentist, I'm going to the dentist.
Mm-hmm.
I also know I'm probably doing what he did when he was in Castaway. Like, those are the options. So I go, okay. So when we ask ourselves, well, what is it that we want? And what is it that we need to get what we want? And ultimately, the number one thing, at least from my experience, is resourcefulness. When we have resourcefulness, we can find resources. Rarely is it flipped, where it's like, okay, if I have enough resources, I'll be resourceful. Because you have too many resources. I think in America, we're actually given too many resources.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like we have so much stuff, we don't even know what to use or what not to use, so we try to dabble with everything and don't get anywhere.
It's the playbook. It's the football playbook. There's too many pages.
Yeah. I go like, oh my goodness, this game it's so simple, hard, easy, challenging. It's all of it. And people don't know exactly what to do. Like, there could be people listening to me right now. Some people are like nodding and agreeing. Yep, 100%. There could be other people like, oh, that's bull crap. That's not true. There could be people saying like whatever they're saying. And everyone's right because it's all of their perspective. And so as I go through my journey, like, I didn't realize I have such a bleeding heart for people. Like, I also didn't realize I could love people more than they could love themselves. You can do this. You can do this. And I had to learn, like, Cliff, you have limited energy too.
You're exactly right. It's funny too. Like at the dentist thing is for me, and I'm that's a scary thing for me. Dentists are frightening for me. And I avoided it was only bare necessities. I would walk in, and I'll tell you, when I went up the days leading up to it, I knew it was going to be they were going to do a root canal and then do all the other stuff and keep it. And in that moment, this was my decision as I walked up. It was, I'm doing the root canal because the dentist said to do the root canal. So I'm just listening to the dentist. And then in that moment, I went to the why. As I'm driving to the dentist office, I said, why did I have a cavity? It was my first cavity ever in my entire life. And I'm like, why did I have that cavity? Well, I got that cavity because when I quit drinking, and because I was drinking so heavily, when you drink heavily, it wears away your teeth. If you're a big, heavy alcoholic, a lot of alcoholics have teeth problems. And then also it compounded after when I got sober because I used candy as my crutch to get out of sobriety. And then there was depression and everything else. So it's a myriad of things. But when I was driving up to the dentist office, I said, why am I doing this? And I listed all those reasons. And then I said, you know what? All my other teeth are fine. It was just one that needed to go. I said, you know what? We're going to have this root canal, and this root canal, it's a back molar. It wasn't in the front or anything like that. And it was back. It was a big ass, one of the biggest tooth in my mouth. Actually, it was the biggest tooth. And so anyway, I walk in the door and I said, I want to have it extracted. And she was like, well, why? And I told her exactly why. I said, I know why I'm here. I'm here because I abused my body for years, and I need to hit the reset button because everything else in my body is resetting. My physical condition is resetting. My brain is resetting. I said, I can always get another tooth later, an implant, and put it in. That's fine. That's down the road. I said, I need to hit the reset button, so I need to pull it. And I said, give me any reason why I shouldn't pull it. And she goes, honestly, there is no other reason in this scenario. And so I went against what she said, and I'm not advocating anybody to go against their medical profession, but I'm advocating to have a conversation with a medical professional, but also a conversation with accountability. Because the entire time of going up there, I was accountable for all of the reasons as to why I had to go into that place. And to that, like, that is one of the scariest places for me. Honestly, it really is. It's like a dentist office is a scary place.
I feel you.
And you know what I found afterwards? So I had a very painful experience, but it wasn't painful because of the dentist. And I will make fun of men in this example. Is afterwards I was like, it wasn't really that bad, and it was really painful in the moment. Like, it was a lot of pressure, and it was a big ass tooth, and it was long as hell. So it went in there pretty good. But afterwards, as I'm talking to Kelly, I go, you know what? I think I'm not afraid of dentists as much now because I just had a female dentist who was extremely careful with my mouth. And all the other times I had men who were just jamming their sausage fingers in, spreading out my jaw, and then choking me while they're like in there. And I was like, I think I missed. And again, back to perspective, I blanketed all dentists as a scary thing. And really, I don't like male dentists with big hands.
I love that.
So now, when I go get another dentist, I don't care what their degrees. I don't care about
the size of your hands.
I'm looking right at that. I'm looking at the size of those paws.
I love that. I had I got to get going after this, brother.
Yeah,
and I also want to ask you if you'd be available this weekend at all to talk, because I got some cool things coming up. But I
can talk on Sunday night after I drop the kids off. Yeah,
okay,
we have a bunch of stuff and then after I drop the kids off Sunday, I'll give you a call.
So I had 2 experiences. So one experience, the dentist effed up so bad. It was for a wisdom tooth. They showed me the needle. They got he goes, "Is it paid or pressure?" Pressure, I think. Well, we can't do anything about that. It was paid. I ended up finding that out later. And the next day I was so sore. It felt like I was in a car accident.
Yeah.
Like my body was stiff. I was like, what the heck? So I end up going to another dentist to get another root canal. No, it wasn't a root canal. It was another wisdom tooth, to get another wisdom tooth pulled. And I had that same fear, oh my God, I don't want to do this. This is going to suck. Dude, it was like 007. It was like him and his team of 4. He had a team of 4. They came in and went out just as fast. It felt like 5 minutes. I was like, and then he just threw it in the pan and I felt nothing. I was like, what the heck was that? Was I dreaming? So there's pros and there's cons to everything. And you just have to ask yourself the right questions every single time. Figure out what you want on your journey. Because I go, we're learning ourselves. We're figuring ourselves out. We're figuring out what we want and what we don't. And even if we don't get what we want, we actually learn something from that. We learn, okay, well, what happened? Why did that happen the way that it did? So you're overthinking. The truth is, it's only overthinking depending on the situation that you're in. Because if you're in a different situation, that overthinking, it serves you very well. And I go, everything serves everything. It's just a matter of timing. Figure out who you are, figure out how you show up, figure out what value you bring, and only you can bring. That's the beauty of the game. Everybody brings value.
I've distilled. I'll close out with this one on my end. I've distilled down my overthinking to my system now is 2 things. It's 2 paths. Everything has 2 paths. There's a tattoo, a Robert Frost fork in the road, and 2 roads is on a tattoo's on my body. And I did this a long time ago, but now it's not. I don't have to prepare for every scenario. I don't, and you can't, because the world does what the world does. But if you can prepare yourself for 2 scenarios, a good and a bad, and trust yourself that you'll navigate the in-between.
I love that. Yeah. That's really cool.
So in closing, I'll let you close out and then I'll do a little spiel there.
Well, honestly, great conversation as always. And if you're a leader and you want to come on and have a fun conversation with us, let's do it. Let's do our thing and just keep serving people along the way. Zig Ziglar said it best. He said, help enough people get what they want and you'll get what you want. But I think you have to figure out how to help people get what they want, because you get to learn how not to do it. I know that I did. I love people so much. I want everybody to win. And I realized that was because I wanted it. And it's not about what I want. It's about what they want. So I had to listen better to them.
It's funny with that Zig Ziglar quote. It's changed over time, and I look at that quote a lot differently, because it's like what I've learned recently is a little different. Is when you actually spend time helping other people, what you want actually changes as well.
That's true. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
So, hey, in closing, just remind everybody, there's no script, there's no questions, there's no prep. No, we're not lazy. We are giving you the realest thing on the internet. We are giving you real human connections. This past 48 minutes was not intended. We did have a guest, and I'll remind everybody not to dig the guest, but to tell you, we go on the fly. And just like the football playbook and all the pages and the situational management, we went hard. And when you're going to hit it, you hit it hard. So, hey, everybody, we really appreciate everybody there. As you're walking around in the world and closing out 2025 and into 2026, make eye contact with strangers, say hello, open the door. You never know what somebody else is going through, and you can make their day, make their week, make their month. So be a good person, stop being a piece of shit, and move on and help somebody.
Love it. All right. Go help people. Love you, brother. Have a great one. Take care.